So this was a match that you can say happened. It happened.
Just happened.
It finished. So not the best of matches if you're looking at. And to be fair, there was a prediction that we had made that Palakale.
Since you had those comments to make about the match, one word that comes to your mind, if you were to just sum up this match, I have one in mind.
What is yours?
Pedestrian.
Yeah, I think pedestrian or slugfest would be one because it was an absolute slow match. And to be fair, we knew that this might be the case. In recent times, Palakele has been one of those grounds that,
Slowish.
yeah, kind of two-faced. And today it was definitely, the spinners were getting a lot of assistance. I mean, it's going to be a spin-friendly track when Mustafizur Rahman bowls 3 overs in an innings.
Just 3.
3 overs.
That just tells you a lot, Fizz, in fact, the leader of the attack in many ways, you can say there was Tuskin as well.
Yeah.
But having said that, yes, of course, the seamers were used at the start, but later on you could see, only spinners being used from both the sides, which tells you a thing or two, from the captain's point of view and what the players really had to make of the pitch, because this wasn't just a ploy made by or used by one team. Both the teams could see could be seen deploying their spinners a lot more. De Silva, let's say for Sri Lanka, if we are to just move in a chronological manner talking about this match, De Silva it took me by surprise to see him bowl just at the 10th or the 11th over mark. So it was surprising to begin with, but then you could understand why that decision was made, because right from the word go, this wasn't a track that was helping the seamers, which is why the decision to play the spinners a lot more, somebody like a De Silva over there for Sri Lanka, for the Bangladesh as well, you could see 4 spinners being together. There was Shakib.
There was Shakib Al Hassan. There was Mehdi Hassan.
There was
Mehdi Hassan.
There were 2 Mehdis.
Yeah, and there was also I'm forgetting the left armer's name. What was his name? Let me just check.
Let's just
I'll just go through.
That.
It was where did it go? It was
Yeah, go there.
it was no, it was Shoriful. No, but Shoriful
was
was
a pacer.
Yeah, so 3 spinners.
Okay, it was Sri Lanka who deployed 4, because there was Walalage, then there was Thikshana as well.
There was
Dhananjaya De Silva, and
no, they also had 3.
they also had 3.
Exactly, because you had Rajata, you had Patirana and Shanaka.
But again, if you look at the spread over there, Thikshana completing 8 overs, De Silva 10, Patira and Walalage 7. So that is 25 overs coming over there just from the spinners as far as Sri Lanka are concerned.
And not just that, there were 42 overs bowled. So it's not like it's actually more than half this.
More than 3/4. More than 3/4, about 42 using. Just about 3/4, let's say, overs being bowled there by the spinners. In fact, this could be the thing going forward as well. We had a brief interaction with Sunny just a few minutes back, and when we were trying to ask him as to what his 11 could be, let's say for India, one of the suggestions that he came up with, and just stick along because that video is going to be out on Sports Today very soon. He also didn't mind fielding an Akshar Patel and going in with 3 spinners because of the tracks that you're seeing in this and whatever you expect, let's say, not just of the game today, but given the past reputation as well that the Sri Lankan ground and the Sri Lankan pitches sort of come with, even Sunny G was looking forward to that option wherein you could be looking at a Jadeja, a Kuldeep and an Akshar, though that will come at a compromise because then you'll only be playing with 2 seamers and Hardik Pandya. Then you'll be looking at that particular combination. That is something we'll have to wait and see if Pakistan also, as the tournament progresses, as they begin to play, more of their matches in Sri Lanka. Will Pakistan, one of the teams that really thrives on their speed bowling attack, will they also be making this adjustment in their bowling attack? Will be interesting to see. But given Pakistan, I doubt if they will go ahead and do that.
Exactly. Also, the other thing you have to remember is that if they need an extra spinner, they do have Iftikhar on the side.
Yes.
So they've got Iftikhar, they'll have
Nawaz and Shadab.
Exactly. In fact, if they want to play a 3rd spinner, then they could, a proper spinner. Iftikhar is very part-time. You could also bring in an Osama Mir. He was playing in the Afghanistan series recently. But, all this thing about like spin-friendly conditions, why did we leave out Yuzvendra Chahal again?
Well, again, there'll obviously and always questions that'll be asked. Yuzi Chahal, very scarce. Let's say the opportunities that he has gotten this whole year as far as the ODI format is concerned, and in those scarce opportunities as
He
well,
wasn't great.
it wasn't great. That being number one as to why he wasn't included. Number two, if you ask about reasons why Yuzi Chahal wasn't there, because at the same time, Kuldeep Yadav excelled in all the opportunities. He
No,
would
that's fair.
often reward you with a 3-4 or a
That's
4-4
fair.
and be that game changer.
That's fair, but you can still keep another option. I mean, especially when you consider that you're talking about combinations, and you have Akshar and Jadeja, who are for all intents and purposes the same player.
Yeah.
So you couldn't fit in two wrist spinners. I never bought that logic, and especially when you look at how things are going in the Asia Cup, could have actually, instead of going with two all-rounders for
Yeah.
spinners, you could have actually dropped one pacer and brought in a Yuzi Chahal. Proper
Perhaps,
pacer. Could have gone that.
But again, we're looking at a time where we're not even sure if an Akshar Patel would make it to the side or not.
But now he does.
The
Now
thing
he
with
does.
Akshar is he gives you an assurance with the bat.
Exactly.
That's also perhaps one of the reasons why Yuzi Chahal sort of falls
He-
behind
True.
Akshar Patel as well, because of Akshar's ability to bat and
Correct.
bat big, by the way.
Yeah, he can win you games.
He can definitely win you games batting lower down the order, and that's one of the things, by the way, that's gone against Yuzi as well. Even when you talk about Kuldeep Yuzi, the combination or the head-to-head, let's say, between the two, if they are, let's say, vying for that spot,
Yeah.
that in that scenario as well, you'd back Kuldeep to give you some more runs than
Or at least hang around.
or just hang around. So that being the case, but getting back to the match at hand, the match that we saw today, very slow, very slow indeed. The application from the batters, I would say, from
Bangladesh batters.
Bangladesh batters, I would say, could really have been a little better. It was stop start. There were a couple of batters who looked good to begin with,
But then that was
just could not. They again just fizzled out too soon. Didn't get their eye in properly. Were middling the ball to begin with, but then the application is where the batters lagged over there. But from Sri Lanka also, I think one cause of worry for them also perhaps would be the fact that of the 5 wickets that they lost, I think 3 of them fell to spinners.
Exactly, and also I think with Bangladesh, you have to remember one of the openers was a debutant, so he was playing his first match, and I doubt he would have been playing if Litton was fit.
Yeah.
So Litton Das actually, that last minute viral fever or whatever it is that he's been ruled out with, massive blow, because already their batting did look a little suspect. Not helped by the fact that their more experienced batters actually didn't get much as far as the
And
scores were
Litton,
concerned.
by the way, let's not forget, he almost took that game away from India. Although, albeit it was a different format of the game,
I
altogether, but he
remember.
is one of the senior folks. The match taking place on the 2nd of November, I remember very well, for reasons that Shane knows why I would remember that date. But yeah, he is, of course, and from a Bangladesh perspective, you'd want Litton Das to come back as soon as possible, because he is one of the senior folks in that batting order, and not on one but on many occasions have we seen him really give Bangladesh that momentum and that and sort of just grab the opportunity and be there in the driver's seat. That's one of the roles that he does very well for Bangladesh.
In fact, it's not just him. I mean, obviously, see, he's missing. There's nothing much you can do about that now. But if you look at the other senior players, Shakib, 5 of 11. Mushfiqur Rahim, 13 of 22. Mehdi Hassan Miraz, 5 of 11. And this is the same Mehdi who was troubling India
In the
consistently.
Test match series.
Even in the one days.
Even in the one days.
In fact, in the one days, he was excelling predominantly in conditions similar to this.
Yeah.
Slow, low. He was doing well
Chattogram.
with the ball. Yes, he was doing well with the ball, Chattogram, and he was doing very well with the bat also.
Yeah.
So I think you could expect more from him as well. If I was a Bangladesh fan, I'd be disappointed that none of the senior players stood up. Najmal Hussain was someone who you didn't expect that sort of a knock from, and he gave it to you in
He gave it to
89.
you.
A good knock. Without that, they would have actually not had much to defend. So it's really that sort of a game, and unfortunately for Bangladesh, I don't know what it is with them, but they've seemingly been in transition for about 4 years now.
Yeah.
And 4 years back, their captain was Shakib.
Now it's
Now it's again Shakib,
Now it's again
despite him
Shakib.
not wanting it. He's a very reluctant captain, that man, and unfortunately, well, I don't know. It just never seems to get easier with him. And truth be told, we knew that Sri Lanka were going to be going in favourites because, of course, whilst their pace bowling isn't that great, kind of conditions they're encountering, I don't think
Conditions
pace
do
bowling.
suit them. Conditions do suit them. By the way, one of the other things that Sri Lanka have to their advantage is the presence of De Silva, who, by the way, is more than a handy bowler. The way I look at him, he's somebody that the captain turns to very frequently, like we saw today. Was given the ball relatively earlier than we usually see him get the ball, and does a fine job. He's more than just a dibbly-dobbly sort of a bowler, because he really seems to have that sort of control and that perfect sort of option that you need when you're looking for an extra bowler in your side. So he does the job well for his team. But the other player, since we're talking about Sri Lanka, the other player who did shine on the day was Patirana. 4 wickets for him on the day. The only pace bowler, I would say, from both the sides that managed to pick so many wickets. Otherwise, the wickets were sort of evenly shared amongst the spinners. But Patirana, good on the day. An excellent catch by the keeper over there. I remember one of the dismissals. An excellent catch over there. Patirana was very thrilled with that dismissal. But overall, Shane, if you were to just look at his performance, how impressive was it?
Very, because I remember, I think, he had started off well. Of course, this year he was very, very good for Chennai Super Kings in the IPL. But I remember his ODI debut was very underwhelming. So at that point, people said that no, he needs to kind of, maybe tweak his game a bit, get more patient with his bowling, because otherwise he's someone who's very impactful. He'll crank it up to 150 plus. Someone who gets plenty of pace. Obviously, with the kind of action he has, very, very hard to pick. But he was not very good in his first few ODIs, and to see the kind of performance he put in today, especially at a time when Sri Lanka's not even death bowling, I'd say pace bowling is really, really thin.
It's thin.
They've been stretched thin because they've had so many injuries. Patirana's emergence, very, very good sign. Couldn't be happier for him. Very, very good
and for Sri Lanka to do well as co-host of this tournament, Patirana will play a big role. I feel. Still very young shoulders to be, put such responsibility on, but he'll have to do it. There's really no other way, and he really holds the key with the ball for Sri Lanka, because as it turns out, yes, there's a Majitha over there, in the ranks, but having said that, I think he'll have to do the heavy lifting solely because of his ability, let's say, to really get the Yorker right, which today he did miss on a couple of occasions, but going forward as well, he'll hold the key for Sri Lanka. But very quickly, let's also quickly run you through the comments of the captains. We do understand that there are certain comments being made by Shakib Al Hassan. Let's quickly tell you what Shakib has had to say. He feels that it wasn't a 300 wicket to begin with. He said it was a low scoring 220, 230 would have given his team a chance, and I don't completely disagree with him because of the low nature of the wicket. He goes on to say that the batting department didn't put up a good job as a unit. They'll have to regroup. They have another important game in a couple of games, he says, and that they needed a couple more wickets when they were 3 down for 30. That's where he felt that they could have capitalized on. Shakib Al Hassan then goes on to say that we picked up wickets but didn't have enough on the board. There were a lot of nerves when we started the game. Lots of guys playing the Asia Cup for the first time, which is true. And they've been playing good cricket, and that's why they're there in the dressing room. So those are the comments of Shakib Al Hassan. He feels that it wasn't really a 300 wicket, but a 200, 220 could have been a competitive total. And don't completely disagree with him.
This was a very slow wicket.
Very slow wicket, and given that Bangladesh did manage to pick 5 wickets.
Exactly. If they had 220, 230, and if they had gotten... Actually, at one point, even I think they had them at 30 for 3, if I'm not wrong, something of
Yes,
that sort.
that's exactly what he said. 30 for 3. Had Bangladesh been able to get, let's say, one more breakthrough over there,
1 or 2 more breakthroughs,
perhaps
and this was
they
game
would have
on.
had the match, really, their grasp on the match would really have then tightened.
Exactly.
But they missed out on that opportunity. 43. Quick correction over there. So 43 for 3, is what Sri Lanka found themselves in. And perhaps, as Arun points out as well, that at that position, really it could have been Bangladesh's game. But
They didn't get those crucial wickets.
But they were denied from that point on. Could only manage another couple of wickets over the next 100 runs.
I think Samara Vikrama batted really well at that point because he kind of built a partnership, blunted.
I think he got to a 50 as well, if I'm not wrong. 80 odd balls he took. to get to his 50. And in fact, speaking of him, we do have his thoughts as well. He says that it wasn't easy at the time, 2 wickets down early. His plan, he says, was to be able to be positive and build a partnership. It's not easy to bat on this wicket, he says. It was spinning and it was a bit slow, and there was only a little bit, he says, for the fast bowlers. He says that I've always backed my strength, and normally cover drive and pull shot is what I sort of turn to, and I try to stay positive. So those were the thoughts of Samara Vikrama. And
Interesting, he mentions cover drive and pull shot. 2 shots which would have been of little use on a pitch like this.
Quick correction though, not 80, 59 balls. So he got to his 50 in 59 balls, Samara Vikrama over there. But those were the first points as well for Sri Lanka. A winning start, much like Pakistan as well.
And their group is much tougher, by the way. Because
So
again,
there's
Afghanistan is the third team here.
So
So,
there is Afghanistan, there's Bangladesh, and there is Sri Lanka.
Exactly. It's a much
Look at
tougher
the
group.
other group, of course, Nepal sort of would feel
Very, very hard
they
as well.
are in a wrong sort of a place, and nothing to take away from Nepal. There were some good glimpses from them as well tomorrow. Having said that, there are only two big dogs, let's say, in the other group, and that is India, Pakistan. Speaking of those two nations, well, that match happening rather soon, 2nd of September.
we hope the rain stays away.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we do have an update from Kandy. It doesn't look pretty at the moment if you're an Indian cricket or a Pakistan cricket fan, because it does look like, as things stand and given the forecast, it is presently raining over there. It's wet, it's damp, and the projection does suggest that you could look at some spells of rain on match day as well, which could mean that it could be a rain curtailed match. Not what you want, not what you want. It's not ideal in any way possible, or in by any stretch of imagination. But as it turns out, as things stand, unless of course there's a change,
Miraculous change
there's a
of weather.
miraculous change in the weather. Remember the WTC final as well. There was a forecast for rain, but it didn't rain. There was some droplets though, but
That was
only
the
after the
extent.
match had ended. So let's just see what happens in Kandy though. Nikhil continues to be there. He's been giving us all the updates. He's been putting out videos for you guys as
Yeah.
well. So do savor those videos as well. And quickly, let's just probably take a couple of
Yeah, let's
comments
go through
from
some
you
of the
guys
comments.
before.
Yeah, Prodigy thought saying that I'd give Tilak an upper hand at 5 over Surya and Shreyas. He could give you 4-5 overs in a tricky match situation, but so could Shreyas if you really need him to.
If
If you really need him to. I'm not giving a debut just on the fact that you can bowl 2 overs.
Yeah.
Not
See,
at all.
He did well with the ball. I remember he was okay. He got he got some treatment as well. Let's not forget, in that second over that he bowled, I remember getting him some treatment as well. But again, it was a different format altogether. And Tilak Verma, we know the thing with Tilak Verma is he will get his opportunity sooner or later. There is no two ways about it.
Now, probably not.
But perhaps not now. And you are looking at Shreyas's return, because he's been the best man batting in the middle order for you.
Exactly.
So perhaps you would not want to make any changes over there.
And Prodigy thoughts also pointing out that what we were echoing, that you should be playing 3 spinners really, because I think you're right, you would most likely be playing those, because again, Palakale has proven to be very spin friendly, and it's only going to get,
Slower.
of course.
Yeah,
No two ways about it. And all the group matches, barring the Pakistan ones of like the Sri Lanka leg, all of the group matches are in Kandy.
Yeah.
So it's just going to get very, very slow. Very slow.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, hopefully the match is a lot more exciting on Saturday.
There is no match, by the way, tomorrow, guys.
Yeah, there's no match tomorrow.
There is no match happening tomorrow. Remember, teams have been in transit. They've been traveling.
Yeah.
You saw the first game played at Multan. The Pakistan team, by the way, is also in Kandy now. Or I believe they are on their way.
I think they reached.
They've reached Kandy. So the Indian team was the first to reach between the two teams. And we're all building up to that exciting encounter between the two sides. Rohit Sharma's men in blue, all in preparedness and in readiness to take on Babar Azam's team. Babar Azam, by the way, got a vital century, 150 runs for him on the other night. Let's just see how it and what it comes down to on match day. Right now, from Shane Dias and me, goodbye, and do subscribe to Sports Day if you haven't already done so.